You're answering a simple question. 30 seconds in, you're still talking. Their eyes just glazed over. You saw it happen, and you couldn't stop. That moment right there, not a personality flaw. It's not because you're bad at communicating, it's actually because your brain is doing something most people's brains don't do as intensely, and there's a trick that forces your mouth to catch up. 3 numbers, 1 framework. By the end of this video, you'll never ramble through an important conversation again. Let me show you exactly how it works. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You're in the middle of explaining something, and you can feel yourself drifting. The point you started with has somehow sprouted 3 related ideas, a clarification, and a quick backstory for context. Now you're not even sure what the original question was. The worst part, you're watching it happen from outside yourself, like you're a passenger in your own mouth. You see their expression shift, that tiny flicker, the micro-glance at their phone. And what do? You keep talking because somewhere in your brain, you think more words will fix it. If you just explain this one more angle, they'll finally understand. It never clicks. It just gets longer. Then the conversation ends, and the replay begins. You lie in bed, running the highlight reel of everything you should have said differently, editing your rambling disaster into some impossibly crisp version that never existed, cringing at the parts where you circled back to something you'd already said. You know you're smart. You know you have good ideas. So why does it feel like the more you know about something, the worse you explain it? That's not rhetorical. There's an actual answer. Let me give you a number that's going to reframe this. Your brain processes information at roughly 800 words per minute. Your mouth can only produce about 125. Think about that gap. Your thoughts are running 6 times faster than your ability to speak them. It's like trying to pour a fire hose through a coffee stirrer. Something's getting lost in translation, and that something is structure. When you know a lot about a topic, the problem gets worse. Every point you make triggers 5 related points. Every example reminds you of a better example. Every sentence branches into caveats and clarifications and, well, it depends qualifiers. Your brain brought a PowerPoint to a Post-it situation. That's not a flaw. That's just an engineering problem. Then there's anxiety. When the stakes feel high, your nervous system does something counterintuitive. It doesn't make you quieter. It makes you louder. Anxiety floods your system, and suddenly you're adding preemptive clarifications and backup explanations for your explanations. You're covering every possible objection before it's raised. The result? You sound less confident, not more. You seem less prepared, not more. The very thing you're doing to seem smart is making you seem scattered. Here's the reframe you need. You don't have a talking problem. You have a filtering problem. Your brain has too much to say, and no system for choosing what matters most. You don't need to think less. You need a structure that does the filtering for you. Here's the framework. It fits on one hand and it works every single time. 3 points, 2 examples, 1 takeaway. That's it. That's your whole answer, regardless of the question. Whether someone asks about your weekend, your project status, or why they should hire you. 3 points, 2 examples, 1 takeaway. Let me walk through why each piece matters. The 3 points force you to prioritize. You cannot say everything you know, so you're required to choose. What are the 3 most important things? Not 7, not 12, 3. This constraint is a gift because it does the editing before you open your mouth. The 2 examples prove you're not just theorizing. They ground your points in something concrete, something real. They show you've actually done the thing or seen the thing, not just thought about it. The 1 takeaway is what they'll actually remember. If they forget everything else, what's the single thing that matters? You end there. That's your landing spot. Here's what this looks like in practice. Someone asks what you do for work. Old you rambles through your job history, your current responsibilities, a side project you're excited about, and somehow ends up explaining your company's org chart. New you says something different. I help companies fix their communication problems. I work mostly with leadership teams on how they run meetings and give feedback. Last month, I helped a startup cut their meeting time in half. The short version, I make people clearer. 3 points about the work, 2 specifics that prove it, 1 sentence they'll remember. The whole thing took 15 seconds and they actually understood it. The framework only works if you give yourself time to use it. That means breaking one deeply ingrained habit. You've been trained to answer immediately. Someone asks a question, And there's social pressure to start talking within half a second. Silence feels awkward. Pausing feels like you don't know the answer. This is completely wrong. Here's what actually happens when you pause for 3 seconds before answering. In those 3 seconds, you're not sitting there blankly. You're running the 3-2-1 filter. What are my 3 points? Which 2 examples fit? What's the one takeaway? You're doing in 3 seconds what most people fail to do in 3 minutes of rambling. And here's the part that will surprise you. The pause makes you look more confident, not less. Think about the smartest people you've seen handle tough questions. They don't rush, they take a breath, they think, then they deliver something clear. The pause signals that you're choosing your words carefully. The ramble signals that you're hoping to stumble onto something good. 3 minutes of rambling says you're lost. This week, try it in low-stakes situations first. Someone asks you a simple question. Before you answer, pause. Take a breath, run the filter, then speak. It will feel strange at first, like you're making them wait. You're not. You're respecting their time by not wasting it with verbal wandering. The pause isn't awkward, the ramble is. Let's make this practical. You're in a meeting and someone asks for a quick update on your project. Old you launches into a chronological recap, starting with the kickoff meeting, mentioning 3 obstacles you hit, describing how you solved 2 of them. You reference a conversation with another team, acknowledge what's still unclear, and then realize you never actually answered the question. Your quick update just became a memoir. New you pauses for 2 seconds and thinks, 3 points, what matters most? Then you say, we're on track to hit the deadline, the design is locked, and engineering starts next week. The one thing I'm watching is the vendor timeline. But I've got a backup if that slips. That's it. 15 seconds, and they know exactly where things stand. If they want more detail, they'll ask. This is the key insight. You don't have to preemptively explain everything. Give them the structure and let them request depth. Want to level up your people skills? Join our community on YouTube or on my Patreon for exclusive scripts, early access, and connection with people who get the social struggle. Links below. Let's master human interaction together. Signpost language helps here. When you're speaking, use phrases like, there are 3 things to know here. First, second, and the main thing. These verbal signposts tell the listener where they are. It's like giving them a map so they don't feel lost. Even in casual conversations, the framework adapts. Someone asks about your vacation. You don't have to narrate day by day. Great weather, amazing food, and I actually finished a book for once. Honestly, it was exactly what I needed. 3 highlights, a couple specifics implied. 1 feeling to remember. Concise isn't cold, it's considerate. Now let's talk about when rambling actually costs you something. Job interviews are where the 3-2-1 framework becomes essential. Interviewers decide if they like you in the first few minutes, then spend the rest of the time confirming that bias. A rambling answer doesn't just bore them, it actively works against you. It signals that you can't prioritize, can't read the room, can't communicate under pressure, the very skills most jobs require. Let's take the most dangerous question. Tell me about yourself. Old you starts with your college major, mentions your first job, explains why you left, describes your second job in too much detail, pivots to what you learned, references a certification you got. Somewhere around minute 4, you realize you never actually said why you're here. New you has 3 points ready. I've spent the last 5 years in operations, most recently leading a team of 12 at a logistics company. I'm most proud of a project where we cut delivery times by 30% by rebuilding our routing system. I'm here because I want to do that kind of problem solving at a larger scale, and your company is doing exactly the work I care about. 3 chunks, background, proof of impact, why here? 60 seconds done. For behavioral questions, combine 3-2-1 with story structure. Give me an example of a time you solved a difficult problem. Your 3 points are the situation, what you did, the result. Your examples are embedded in these specifics. Your takeaway is what you learned or what it shows about you. Keep it to 60 seconds. If they want more, they'll ask. And if they ask, you've already proven you can be concise, so now you can expand without seeming scattered. You've got the structure, but there's something that can sabotage even a perfectly organized answer. Sort of. These filler words are what happens when your mouth keeps moving while your brain catches up. They're verbal buffering. Your mouth saying, please hold, while your brain loads the next thought. Everyone uses them, but overusing them makes you sound uncertain, unprepared, even untrustworthy. It undercuts your message before the message even lands. Here's the fix. Replace filler with silence. This sounds simple, but it requires rewiring a deep habit. When you feel the urge to say nothing instead. Just pause. Let the silence exist. I know. Silence feels uncomfortable. It feels like you're leaving a hole in the conversation. But here's what the listener actually experiences. Someone who's thinking carefully, someone who's not rushing to fill space. They experience confidence. The says you're stalling. The pause says you're choosing. Start by building awareness. Record yourself answering a question out loud. Just use your phone. Then play it back and count. How many ums? How many likes? You'll probably cringe, and that's good. Awareness is the first step. Most people don't end their answers, they just run out of words and hope no one noticed. You've seen it? Someone finishes their main point, but instead of stopping, they trail off. It's like watching a plane circle without a runway, just endless orbiting. This matters because endings shape memory. The last thing you say is often what sticks. If you trail off, the impression is uncertainty. If you land, the impression is confidence. The 3-2-1 framework has a built-in landing spot. The one takeaway. That's your runway, you drive toward it, and stop. But you can also use graceful stop phrases. These are sentences designed to signal completion. That's the key point. That's what matters most here. That's the main thing I'd want you to know. These phrases tell the listener, I'm done. I meant to stop here. This is the point. Practice this. When you're doing your voice memo exercises, end every answer with a graceful stop. Don't trail off. Don't add qualifiers. Don't say, does that make sense? In a way that invites doubt. Just land. The difference between stopping and ending is the difference between confidence and uncertainty. By now you might be thinking, this is great for simple topics, but what about when I actually have a lot to say? What about complex subjects where 3 points aren't enough? This is the most common objection, and it's valid. Some things are genuinely complex. Some answers require nuance. Some situations demand depth. But the 3-2-1 framework doesn't limit what you can say. It organizes what you say first. The triage question is this. If they remember only one thing, what should it be? Start there. Then build your 3 points around that one thing. Everything else goes in what I call the mental parking lot. The parking lot is where you put the tangents, the caveats, the I should also mention ideas. You don't forget them. You just don't lead with them. You hold them in reserve. Then you do something powerful. You offer depth on demand. At the end of your concise answer, you say, I can go deeper on any of these if it's helpful. This does 2 things. It signals you know more than you said, and it gives them control. If they want the detail, they'll ask. If they don't, you haven't wasted their time or diluted your point. Here's the paradox. Limiting yourself often increases your perceived expertise. When you say everything, you seem like you're trying to prove something. When you're selective, you seem like you already know what matters. You're not becoming someone who knows less. You're becoming someone who knows what matters first. Understanding the framework is one thing. Making it automatic is another. You don't get good at this by thinking about it. You get good by practicing out loud, with structure, until the structure becomes instinct. Here's your 7-day protocol. Days 1 and 2. Voice memos. Pick a random topic, your favorite movie, your last project, what you ate yesterday. Set a timer for 60 seconds and answer using 3-2-1. 3 points, 2 examples, 1 takeaway. Do 3 of these each day. Don't edit, don't restart. Just practice moving your mouth with structure. Days 3 and 4, the pause practice. Before you answer any question, real or practice, pause for 3 seconds. Every time. Your goal is to make the pause automatic because it's the moment where your brain runs the filter. Days 5 and 6, real-world application. Pick one meeting or conversation each day and deliberately use the framework. Before you speak, think. 3 points. Use signpost language and land with a takeaway. Notice how it feels. Notice how people respond. Day 7, the interview test. Record yourself answering, tell me about yourself. Watch it back and time it. Is it under 90 seconds? Does it have 3 clear chunks? Does it end with a landing, not a trail off? This isn't about perfection. It's about building a habit. 60 seconds a day, 7 days, that's your protocol. Let me tell you what this is really about. Because it's not about speaking less. If you just focus on reducing your word count, you'll feel like you're shrinking yourself. Like you're holding back, like the real you has more to say and you're suppressing it. That's not the goal. The goal is becoming someone who knows what matters and leads with it. The shift isn't from talker to quiet person. It's from rambler to clarity giver. Here's the identity statement. I'm not someone who has less to say. I'm someone who knows what's worth saying first. This reframe matters. You're not suppressing your intelligence. You're channeling it. You're not becoming boring. You're becoming quotable. Think about the people you respect most. The ones who seem wise. The ones whose opinions carry weight. They're usually not the ones who talk the most. They're the ones who say things that stick. Concise isn't cold. Rambling is what's actually disrespectful, to your own point. Every extra word you add is another word diluting the thing that mattered. You have permission to take up space, but take it up efficiently with intention, in a way that makes people lean in, not tune out. You're not becoming less. You're becoming concentrated. Remember where we started? You're in the middle of answering a simple question. You can feel yourself drifting, their eyes glazing over, and you can't stop. That was the old pattern, and now you understand why it happened. Your brain was faster than your mouth. You had more to say than any conversation could hold, and nobody ever gave you a filter. Now you have one. 3 points, 2 examples, 1 takeaway. That's the structure that catches everything your brain throws at it and turns it into something people can actually receive. You pause before you speak. You choose your 3 points, deliver them with signposts so they can follow, and land with intention instead of trailing off. You're not the person who talks too much anymore. You're the person who says things people remember. The ripple effects go further than you think. People trust concise communicators. They promote them. They seek their opinions. Being clear isn't just a communication skill. It's a career skill, a relationship skill, a leadership skill. Every conversation from here is a chance to practice. Not to prove anything to anyone else, but to prove to yourself that you've changed. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be intentional. One conversation at a time, 1 3-2-1 answer at a time. The question isn't whether you can do this. You already understand it. The question is whether you'll actually use it. So here's my challenge. In your next conversation, when someone asks you something, pause. Run the filter and give them 3 points, grounded in something real, and land on what matters. 3 points, 2 examples, 1 takeaway. Go! Learn something new? Hit that like button, share it with others, tap subscribe, and stick around for more. Got thoughts? I'd love to hear them in the comments.